Logic album fire, not gonna lie. Okay, so the Logic album, like Logic is hard, right? So I listened to the Logic album. I finished it out. What was it called? Ultra 85. And for those who don't know, I've been kind of anticipating Ultra 85 for like some years now. Back when I think the Incredible True Story came out or something like that, it was hints or nods to Ultra 85 dropping, and it was supposed to be like this massive concept record or whatever the case is supposed to be. But I kind of gave up hope, you know, in that concept ever coming out, because from what I remember, it was a retirement that he had planned, and that was supposed to kind of 86 everything music wise for Logic. But I didn't know he was still supposed to be coming out and dropping more music. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. So I was already like 2 albums behind by the time Ultra 85 this one came out. And me listening to it, you know what I'm saying? We listened to the intro on stream, and I really was impressed. I was very impressed. I was surprised. I thought he came through with a lot of moxie, a lot of energy. I liked his flows on it a lot. I thought, you know what I'm saying? And I think a part of that might be just me not having heard Logic in a minute. You know, I haven't listened to a Logic album in like 2 years, like 2 or 3 years. And I think he's dropped at least 2 or 3 albums within that time period. So not having any Logic material to consume within that time frame, hearing that almost 9-minute intro was kind of like a breath of fresh air, because I haven't heard bro in a minute. Then we listened to a couple more tracks, and I very quickly found out, no dick suck, you know what I'm saying, no hate. Very quickly found out that I wasn't missing much. You know what I mean? That's just the way. That was just the nature of the situation. I understood that and realized that I think Logic is making music to sustain, you know, his current audience, and, you know, put out material for the people that already love him. And he's not necessarily going to cater to any of the naysayers or people who may have critiqued his past work, which I think is good if that's going to put him on a good path for mental health for himself. But for me personally, I think he's repackaging the same thing that we've gotten for the last, I don't know how many years. You know what I'm saying? At least the past couple records have felt like, imagine a franchise constantly remastering their best work and then like repackaging it and re-rolling it out for you. You know, a lot of the elements from his mixtapes, I felt kind of on this record. You know, a lot of the elements from, you know, Under Pressure to some extent. It's just kind of like repackaged idea-wise, some stories, I guess, and then they're just put forth with a new record. Imagine like another, like it'd be like if an anime game that you really love when you were a kid came out with a remaster, and it's literally the same game, it just looks way better. And I feel like that with this Logic album. It's the same content. It's the same talking points. It's the same ideas. It's the same songs, just sonically a little bit more enjoyable. It's fresher, you know. It sounds a little bit more polished, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But me, I'm just, I need more to keep me interested. You know, I need a little bit more finesse with the wordplay, a little bit more finesse with the concept. Speaking of the concept, I wasn't really enamored with the whole skit thing. I really would have liked if they would have put the skits on their own separate tracks and not included them at the end of each song, because it's kind of weird when I'm listening to a record that I think is kind of cool and then it transitions into a skit with characters that are kind of just rehashing Logic's own talking points, and they don't really belong to or adhere to whatever the concept of the album is supposed to be the whole way through. Yeah, I could have done without the skits, you know. Could have done without the skits. But outside of that, you know, it's just regular Logic. And I think if you haven't listened to him in a minute, this will be a breath of fresh air. But nothing's really changed, I feel like. It's the same stuff that we've been getting the last, I don't know how many years.
What about Logic projecting molestation?
That was weird. And we did talk about that briefly when we listened to that one track. I don't remember what the name of it was. He's kind of alluded to, if you don't rock with his music like that, like I know he didn't mean it. I know he probably didn't mean it like that, but he quite literally said, you know, if you are not in a space where you fuck with me or something like that, it's kind of like, yeah, you probably was molested. And I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Really threw me off. And so I did hear a couple of those concepts kind of show up with the characters that he's got making the skits on the record. He's kind of talking through them, because there's at one point the characters are talking about like how subjective music is, and I'm like, why the fuck would these characters be talking about this in any capacity? Like, why would they be? Like I said, it is what it is, you know. Logic is Logic on this album, as he's always been. I'm just not in the space for it. But that intro is very good. Like, I like that intro. And there's a couple records on here that I think sound good. But then there's other records where I'm like, you know what? He's putting his rap cape on again, and he's cosplaying, you know, rappers. You know, he's being the kid who's pretending to be their favorite superhero again. And that's what I felt like with the watered down version of his Lemonade take. You know, the Lemonade sample on the second track I think was great, and then I'm just like, what the fuck did you turn the beat into? Like, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's what he liked to do, and I can't hate on that. It is what it is, you know. Logic stealing beats from his fans is fucked up though. I have no recollection of that. I don't even know what that means. I don't know if he did that. I don't know if they're, you know, I'm out of the loop on that.
I like how Love Me was a bit different from him, that Hunger is just kind of gone, which is okay.
Yeah, I understand, you know. I get it. Logic is doing his thing, and I'm happy for him, you know. Oh, that's another thing that Logic did on this album that I thought was great. He was saying nigga a lot on one song particularly, and it didn't sound cringe. It didn't sound weird. I don't know what he did. He just didn't make a big deal out of it. But when he was saying it, like, I wasn't even turning around or making my eyes big or nothing. I was just like, yo, you really sound good. You sound you sound like a natural, you know? You sound like a natural, and I was fucking with that. At the very least, if I didn't take anything away from that record, Logic sound decent saying nigga right now. And I'm cool with that. He took nigga 101, cleaned up his tone. He definitely did. The way he was saying it, the enunciation, all of it. None of it was cringe. You know what I mean? So I fucked with that. Good on Logic for that.